All right, so another episode of Adulting 101. We're joined by Ladies Only BJJ. So, guys, please introduce yourselves.
You start, Rose?
My name's Rose. I'm from Amsterdam, and I'm a brown belt in Jiu-Jitsu. I've been in black belt, and I've been training for 8 or 9 years now. And I started Ladies Only BJJ in 2015, and it got a lot bigger when Johanna joined, and we started writing blogs about many different things and also the European Championship. And that's how we started growing Ladies Only BJJ. Um, Ladies Only BJJ is an organization that aims to increase women's jiu-jitsu online and also offline in the real world. So what we do is we organize events such as music camp, open mats, and on online we blog and interviews, and that's how we want to increase women's jiu-jitsu. Yeah, that's about me.
Okay. So my name is Joanna. I'm from Sweden, but I live in Norway. I've been training for about 8 years. I'm a purple belt, and I've been training mostly at in Oslo. I didn't train before I moved here. I moved here to Norway, where I live now. It's about 9 years ago, actually. And I've been working with Rose for the past 2 years. Rose was starting up first of all, online community, but also for the camps. And we started working together at European Championship. It's like 2 or 3 years ago, Rose. I can't remember. Yeah. So we're mainly focusing on like online platform, but also the camps. So we're doing camps for girls, regardless of like background, affiliation, experience, anything. So we're just trying to create a good environment for girls to train and to feel free to connect with new people and be able to develop and learn from each other, basically.
That's really nice. Apeksha, you want to say something to that?
Actually, it's really inspiring, like how you girls are connecting. Because last time I connected with Rose, she was telling me how it's still like jiu-jitsu is not really big there as well. Like you have few gyms and you have like very few girls training in compared to men there. So, I mean, that's really great. So, like, when I think about girls in India, and we have few gyms in Delhi, which is like northern part of India, and then few are in the southern part of India. So, like, the entire concept of connecting the gender throughout the country is like, and you guys are doing it throughout, like, beyond countries, which is amazing. So, like probably soon, like it's a great idea, but it's a big responsibility, I would say. To like I don't even know that I can commit to something like that in my country or not, because it's like organizing all the camps, getting everyone together to train. It's amazing what you guys are doing.
I think you don't have to do. I think you absolutely can, because you don't have to do it so complicated. You can just start really small. Like we were starting setting up open mats for ladies in our own hometown, just to invite everyone. And like from the beginning, maybe it was just like 2-3 came, and then the word starting to spread out, and suddenly someone visit from another town and they wanted to come, just to keep it really simple, because it doesn't have to be like a luxury camp. It can be really down low, and it's just about connecting with new people. So I really think you should do it. Just try it out. Doesn't make it so complicated.
Yeah. And
You can try it, right? And see how it goes, and then take it from there.
definitely. I think I will give it a shot.
Yeah, that should be fun, bringing all the women in the country together and training and all of that. That should be
Like,
fun.
at least in Delhi, I think, like, if people, like, girls connect with each other, that would be great.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah. So tell us about the scene, the jiu-jitsu scene in like in Europe, because like I remember we had like I had this guy from Sweden, I guess, who was training with us. Sweden or Finland, I'm not sure, but his name was Yoko, and he was strong. So, I mean, yeah, but then I guess he left Jujutsu or something, or maybe he just moved to another country, but like never heard from him. But we had a Swedish guy in the Swedish or Finnish guy in our academy. So yeah, just tell us about the Jujutsu scene in Europe.
Well, at least I can talk a little bit about Scandinavia. It might be a little bit different, Scandinavia, from the other European countries, and that's because if you, let's say, I'm from Sweden, and the system is a little bit different in Sweden because the government supports like any form of activity for youngster and children, which is very good because that means that you could basically start up an academy and you would be able to get some support from government because you're doing activities for children. In my experience, Sweden and Finland had like a huge growth of jiu-jitsu, and I think mainly that's because you get support from government, and also I say people and families in general is very they want to stay active with their children. They think it's important for them to do activities. Norway is a little bit smaller country, but still it's a good growth. We have a lot of really good professors here, people moving from Brazil, really good teachers, and it's like it's a big inspiration to have also professors coming from like the original country where everything started to spread the word for jiu-jitsu. But I think mainly the growth helps because of support from the government. They make possibilities to start up academies and to get support and to help the sport to grow, I think.
No, I don't think we have something like that in the Netherlands.
Rose, you're
Um,
not audible at all. I mean,
oh, okay, I'll try it.
yeah.
No, I was going to say that we don't have something like Scandinavia for jiu-jitsu. So I would say Scandinavia is more developed in the jiu-jitsu scene than, for example, my country. Um, I think maybe also jiu-jitsu started a little bit earlier in Scandinavia. I'm not sure. But in the Netherlands, I think it's still a little bit behind. So we don't have the system of government support if you want to start a jiu-jitsu gym. But still, people like the academy where I train, the two teachers there, they really invest in the gym, and they rent the place 24/7, so they can make it grow later. So yeah, I think the Netherlands is still a bit smaller in terms of jiu-jitsu. But overall in Europe, I think jiu-jitsu is growing. If you look at the UK, for example, UK is also they have big gyms, big competitors, and Scandinavia. I think those are the two biggest places. Don't you think, Johanna?
And also, I think that the distance within Europe, it's I mean everything is so close. You're able to travel from to many countries within, let's say, a week. So that helps a lot too because If first of all, for the competitions, when you want to travel for competition, you can just take a day trip. If you want to go for seminars, if you want to have just go and visit another academy, it's very close by. So I also think it's helping a lot to spread the word, and it's helping a lot for people to develop because they're able to train with a lot of different people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can just like take a train or go to a car, and it can be close.
Rose, I guess you'll have to speak a little louder because I mean, I for one cannot hear it at all what you're trying to say. Maybe try logging in through a phone or something.
Yeah, I'll try that. Can I come back?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. I'll be right back.
yeah, yeah. So, like, I think the most challenging thing about India is, you know, like, kids are not that much enamored by sports and stuff, so extracurricular is not that focused on. And like everybody is into studies and stuff. Everybody wants to study. Everybody wants to become an engineer or a doctor. Basically, everybody wants to make like six figures and then decide what they really want to do about go about in their lives. And I guess that is something which which people need to kind of change in this country. More people need to get up and join something. Maybe like whatever feels good to them, just follow their dreams. I guess something like that.
Because probably I think in India we don't have too much scope in sports, and if you talk about martial arts, it's really bad because like there was a period when judo and karate became like every colony had a park and there was judo and karate happening in the parks, and the instructors weren't picked well because it's happening in your local parks. So because it was so widespread all of a sudden in like over a few years, I think like martial arts as a whole as a career didn't really pick up, and like now everyone, like anybody who does judo or karate would be a black belt. You can buy a belt in a month or two and you can become an instructor. So I think that's really put down martial arts in India. But now because of MMA, which has really picked up in past few years in India, and with the Supreme Fighting League or something like that, which has come up,
The SFL.
SFL, people have just started, like the youth, they watched UFC and they started watching this. So it's just like they know what MMA is now. So it's now martial arts is gaining some popularity in India. I think like it is changing now.
Yeah,
Guys, I wonder.
We can see you, Rose, but we can, at least I can hear you.
I can hear you as
You
well.
can.
Like just cannot see
Yeah.
you.
Okay, because
But that's
you
okay if
can
we
see
cannot
me.
see you. That's okay if we cannot see you. Just I mean,
Oh, okay, because I cannot see myself either, but I can hear all of you.
yeah, this
Is
is
the sound
perfect.
better
Yeah,
though?
the sound's perfect right now.
Okay. Then leave it like this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Continue. What were you guys talking about?
We were just talking about this thing in India where people are not, I mean, kids for one are not kind of pushed into sports, and the parents really want them to excel in studies and stuff. So kind of that
Hmm.
thing.
Oh, okay. But that's changing now more, or?
Yeah, it is. It is changing.
Hmm.
Little bit. I think it's also like people put their kids in sports. Like if we talk about one state like Haryana, they put in sports because you can go and get a medal in that, and then
Yeah.
you'll get a government job. I think the entire purpose to do sports from the beginning
Yeah.
is to be settled and be in a government job, and that's about it. I mean, we've had movies made on that. We've like there's like the reality of one big state in India, and they are amazing in sports, that state people, because their dedication, they start from the beginning, like from very early age, and but one medal, two medals, and they're out of the game just because they have a job now. But like, I mean, different states, different stories, and
Yeah.
different financial backgrounds, different stories
But
again.
they're awesome wrestlers. The people from Haryana, they are one of the most, kind of the hard people in India.
when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. But that's funny what you say about kids classes, because I don't know what it's like in Scandinavia, but I feel that there are many more kids classes than, for example, in the Netherlands. We don't really have that yet. It's starting a little bit, but Johanna, I think in Scandinavia there are a lot of kids classes for Jiu-Jitsu, right?
Yeah, I can't really speak for every single academy, but most of the academies, at least the bigger ones who have classes several times a week, usually start teaching kids classes. Me and my husband, we started teaching kids at the age of 3. And it's just basically from when they're so small, they just play around. We do like animal movements. They learn how to. The thing is, what's so cool about kids is that they're able to adapt really quick, and they're very curious, and they don't think so much. I always find that if I'm teaching a kid to do something, they don't really think about it. They just do it, and it's so much fun for them. Um, while I think adults tend to do things a bit more complicated than kids. But yeah, I guess that in Scandinavia, the growth of sports among kids, it's really big. It's very common to have your kid in any kind of sport from the age of at least like 4 or 5 years old. So
But do you both see a difference between how like the gender ratio in kids class, the difference in gender ratio? Because like in India, sometimes like when we started kids classes, there were hardly any girls. Now, like fortunately, we have a lot of girls coming in. But like even when I see my sister and her household, so they have a lot of kids in their home. But the boys go to the sports activities, but the girls are put into arts or dance classes. So do you see that difference in Europe still, like on basis of gender? Do you see that difference, parents making in the society putting on the kids or something like that?
not in my experience, no. We had when I was teaching kids classes like on a regular basis, we could have it was let's say we had 15 kids, at least 5 or 6 would be girls. What I could tell was that uh, the girls was often a little bit more well behaved. But that was in a positive way because often it affected the boys. So the boys could run around and start playing, and sometimes the girl would go up to him and say, "No, you behave." And it was hilarious because they would listen sometimes more to like their friends than me. But no, I don't see it. And like here, they're so used to always being mixed, in school, in activities, playing. So I haven't really experienced that. Um, no.
No, I think I cannot speak about jiu-jitsu because, like I said, there's not that many kids classes in Netherlands. But for example, in judo, up to a certain age, it's also mixed in competition, like boys fight girls, till I don't know what age. I think age of 8, 9, 10, something like that. So yeah, they don't even make a difference there.
No.
And yeah, I think it's good. to have it mixed, and not put too much attention to the gender or what you should do or should not do.
Yeah, now I like, because it's been 4 years I've been training, so like when I started, like I've seen a huge difference in these 4 years in like kids class, even in the adults class. Like there are more women coming in, and like it just makes me really happy. I think there are more girls in kids class sometimes than the boys. And again, they're very well behaved, and sometimes they perform better than the boys. Like they're actually they perform better than the boys, but they're too shy. I think when it comes to sparring and when they're paired up with some boys, so they get too shy of doing anything, and they're just standing there and praying to be paired up with another girl.
Yeah, they might be a little bit more dependent on having friends there, which I could tell because sometimes if they ask, "Oh, you're coming for class next week," and if let's say there were three girls together, always training together, but like really good friends, if two of them said like, "No, I'm gonna travel," or "I'm not gonna be able to make it," it would be a little bit more difficult to get like the last girl to attend because I think they might be a little bit more dependent on having their friends there, you know?
Yeah.
But I think like kids class is like a challenge for me. So there's this state in India, Meghalaya. So the biggest city over there is Shillong. So I went to so in India, the northeast part of the country, they follow a matriarchal society. So it's the women who dominate everything. It's the women who get the most emphasis. You know. So in Shillong, there were in the class, the girls outnumbered the boys like anything. So about 75% of of the people in the class were actually girls, and like 25% of them were boys. But then for me, the challenge was taking a kids class was so difficult, because they don't listen to me. I mean, yeah, just and it's so hard to explain them because when you think about it, like we as adults know how to process certain information and kind of that thing, but kids they're just too young to process, so you'll have to like really break down stuff for them, just step by step, even like half a step sometimes, just tell them what to do, what not to do. So that was like the biggest challenge I ever faced. And I was like, I talked to my professor before taking the class. I was so nervous, in front of the kids, like, what if I fuck up and what if I cannot do anything and stuff. Yeah. So but that was like, once I had that, it was a really refreshing experience, just, it felt good to kind of teach the kids something about jujitsu and something about, even if it was no just very basic stuff. I mean, just imparting some knowledge, I guess.
And I think you gain so much from teaching kids. You learn a lot yourself because they will always ask you why. So you always have to explain them why. And sometimes you might even think to yourself, I don't know why, but you're gonna have to, really challenge yourself because they ask you why and you're gonna explain and then they ask you again, but why?
Yeah. Okay, why is nobody speaking? So, I mean, the Ladies Only BJJ kind of that Instagram page, it's really nice. I mean, what you guys are trying to do, what you're trying to kind of project out there, it's really nice. And I mean, I hope there are more of that sort coming up. We have this in Asia, there's this handle called as BJJ Asia Women. So they kind of chronicle all the women stories in Asia. So, I mean, it's really refreshing to see kind of, jujitsu in general grow up and, just kind of evolve from one thing to the next. and just be a big global worldwide community. I mean, me and like I was talking to Apeksha like yesterday, like I pretty much know like I can go to any academy in the world and I would be like I would be welcomed.
Yeah, my kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. So yeah, I was saying that I could go to any academy in the world, and I would be welcomed. Like people wouldn't be a dick to me, and that's not what a lot of other sports or even martial arts have. Like like if you look at boxing or let's say Muay Thai, it's kind of different, I guess. I mean, but that is what I think.
And probably like as I mentioned before, just keep it simple. You start with a platform like I mean, social media is perfect to connect with people from different places. So if you're able to just start up Instagram page or Facebook page, or just like share maybe technique videos, or just for inspiration, me and Rose, we get a lot of inspiration, let's say from US, because jiu-jitsu, it's so big in US, and people manage to live from having academies and competing, and the social media make the gaps so much shorter. It's easier to gain information and to be inspired and to help to inspire others.
Yeah, and I think it's also because jiu-jitsu is still so small. I mean, it's getting bigger and bigger, and of course it's really big, but relatively compared to other sports, it's so small. So the lines are so much shorter. That's why it's so easy to connect if you want to go somewhere or contact someone through Instagram. It's not weird or strange. And like you said, Joseph, you can just go to another academy, train there. I mean, if you would be playing hockey, maybe it doesn't really work like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and you're able to. That's like so cool with the sport. That what's for me one of the greatest thing is that you're actually able to go and train with. You can go to train to Brazil, where it started with. Like you can basically train with legends, with your idols. Like Rose mentioned, if you play hockey or golf, you're not able to send an email to whoever's in like top position, world champ, and say, hey, can I come and train with you next week? But you're gonna be able to do it in jiu-jitsu. You can send a mail, and they welcome you. It's possible. That's really cool.
yeah. So, like, just try to sum up what jujitsu means to you.
I think it's hard. I think it's hard to it's always hard to describe feelings, and jiu-jitsu for me it's a lot of feelings. It's a lot of emotions. It's I've been doing gymnastics. I've been doing other sports, but for me this is like helping others. It's not only that you go and train sport, but it's kind of it's a way of life. It's at least from how I've been taught. It's not only about to go and train and win tournaments, but it's a lot with your family, but also a lot about developing yourself as a person. Through training and through helping others. And yeah, it sounds like hippie talk, but it's so much emotion.
You start jiu-jitsu? Like, what was your journey?
Why I started? I started when I moved to Norway. I started with Muay Thai, and it was 9 years ago, and then I started to train a little bit MMA, and the ground game for me. I started training nogi because I was I wanted to do MMA, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna train. I'm gonna learn a little bit on the ground, and then kind of I got more and more into it, and I thought it was really interesting. And then I realized that the scene for female athletes was a lot bigger in Jitsu, and suddenly I had the opportunity to go and train with so many more girls, which for me was very inspiring, and it helped a lot to develop. So I think it was kind of step by step, to be honest, coming from Muay Thai, MMA, and then after a while for Jiu-Jitsu, and eventually I didn't want to do anything else in Jiu-Jitsu. So, yeah, I mean, and you can basically train until you're 100 years old. You never see like a wrestler training at the age of 60, 70, because usually their bodies are really kind of beaten up after so many years of training. But jiu-jitsu, you can train. You can train when you're 3 years old, and you can train when you're 100. So it's a sport that you can have all through life.
What about you, Rose?
Yeah, I think for me, jiu-jitsu is also, to come back to the question of Joseph, it's a lot about personal development as well. Like you learn, because you learn very slow. It's not an easy sport. So it takes a very long time before you get it. And that's what I think is very challenging, but also very rewarding about it, because you have to work really hard, train hard for a long time. Not train really hard per se, but put a lot of effort in it before you see the results. And I think for me that makes you learn that you can't always get everything the second you want it. You have to work for it, and only then you start seeing results. So that's what I really like and appreciate about Jiu-Jitsu, and what also makes you cope with things in normal life, because life is also like that. You can't always get everything the second you want it. You have to work for it, and yeah.
I think it's a lot about patience. What you mentioned, Rose, that things take time, because yeah, I mean, it would be impossible to get a black belt within a year. It's not possible, it's not gonna happen. So it teaches patience, because you need to be patient to be able to continue the journey, and you're gonna have like ups and downs, which also teaches you to be persistent.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and that's what I think is one of the most beautiful things about jiu-jitsu, and sharing that with other people makes it even better.
Very true. So we were talking about yesterday. We were also talking about So we were talking about this thing that when
Wait, are you guys still there?
yeah.
Still there. I'm not seeing yourself though.
Yeah, it's it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can see him.
You can see him?
Yeah?
I can see him.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So can you hear me?
Maybe he will be back in a bit.
But can you hear him, guys? Can you hear him?
No.
No.
He's not audible to you too?
No.
Audible to me. So I think you have to reconnect or something.
All right. So just Apeksha, you kind of talk to them. I'll just work something out. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright guys, so he is gonna connect back if you guys can't hear him. And like we were talking about jiu-jitsu, so I would share my experience that personally it has taught me a lot of patience, because I was telling these guys on the podcast yesterday that as a kid, as I was growing up, because I never had a problem, having something that I want, and it's not going to happen in instantly. So I was always privileged like that. So I think I had temper issues, and I used to blast those people very easily. Anything like little inconvenience would make me angry, and Jitsu is completely like changed that for me. Like I've become more adjusting. I've become more. I see things in like I understand things instead of reacting and just blasting off and just like it's just changed me as a person. And over 4 years, like my family has seen that transition. And like when I was talking to Rose, I was telling her that my brother thinks that I'm like obsessed with jiu-jitsu, because I plan my day and I plan meeting friends or going out with my family around my classes. So like 7 to 9, I say I am busy, so I'll see you after 9:30, or I can see you before 6:30. So like that time is dedicated. So they actually get a little pissed off that your evenings are busy and we don't get to see you. So, but as a person, they see a change in me, and like they really appreciate that what the art has done to me. Personally, it's amazing. And again, connecting and meeting such lovely people every day, like it's so there was a time when I took a break from my work, and I was free for an entire year, or 10 months, and the entire day, like I used to look forward for classes, and I didn't know how those 10 months passed away. Like it was only about classes.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were two of me on the screen. Can you hear me now?
Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I audible to Rose and Johanna?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Cool. So what were you guys talking about?
I was just telling them about my journey and my experience, like
Yeah.
what jiu-jitsu meant to me, and what it's how it's changed me as a person. And like again, it's really difficult to explain why you go back to the gym every time and every day. Even after an injury, you would want to go back, and like you just want to do it. And
Yeah.
it's really hard to explain to somebody who doesn't train.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but also, you're able to adapt even though you're injured. Like you're always gonna be able to train somehow. If you want an excuse, you're gonna find an excuse, of course, and then not train. But even though if you injure your knee or shoulder or whatever, you're still gonna be able to. You can always do something. Or I think the environment also, because most academies have really good vibe. People enjoy being there. You kind of miss being around those people. You get really, really close to someone that you train with, or get beaten up by. That's really weird, but kind of love them. It's like family,
Yeah.
So I think that also you kind of, as soon as you get out from the gym, you miss that. You miss being around those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always think it's interesting if somebody comes for a trial class. I always ask them after the class, did you like it or what did you think? And if they have no background in martial arts, I always wonder why some of them continue and why some of them don't. Because I can really understand if you don't understand jiu-jitsu, it might be a little bit weird, and you don't know what's going on, and you don't understand everything yet. So how can it be like fun to some people? I cannot understand why some people say, "Nah, I don't think this is for me," and why some people say, "Yeah, I think this."
And I think, honestly, from the beginning, when I was taught the first classes, I was kind of too much like control freak. So I thought it was really frustrating to, you do this step and then second step and third step. and I thought it was really frustrating, to be honest. But somehow I still enjoyed it, and that was also weird.
Yeah. So Rose, you're the
Yeah, I think
highest.
that's different. Like some people, they want to like be sure to do every step exactly right, like you, and also me a little bit, I think. And some people are like, yeah, it's a little bit like this, and then they just do it and they just try it. But I think that's different for everyone, how everyone learns and wants to learn.
Yeah. So Rose, I guess you're the highest ranked belt among all of us, you know. So what advice do you want to give to us?
Oh, advice as in for training or
As in just the jiu-jitsu, kind of the whole thing, the lifestyle, the life, competition, everything. Just what would you say to us, to not only us but people who are like just starting jiu-jitsu or probably are a blue or a purple belt, you know?
I didn't hear the last part very well, but I think you said something like what advice I could give for overall.
Yeah.
That's a hard question. I was thinking about it. Well, the sound is not so good. I'm sorry. Okay, don't worry. I think for jiu-jitsu, I know I had a lot of injuries, so I think I'm like besides the years of experience, I'm also very experienced with injuries. And for that, I would have good advice. I would say it's important to. It sounds a bit selfish maybe, but if you want to have like train without injuries, it's important to listen to yourself and be safe in the first place there. So if you don't feel comfortable rolling with someone or rolling in a certain way, then it's okay to say no and don't do it. So I think having had a lot of person, I think that's the best advice I could give someone. Because you know sometimes you will roll with someone and then after the roll you will think, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that, or something hurt me, or maybe too heavy or too strong or too wild. And of course you should be able to train with everyone, but you also should be able to train safe without injuries. So and sometimes those two things don't go together very well. So my advice would be to put yourself and your health first. And if you don't think a role is safe, then it's okay to say no. And it's okay for other people to say no to you as well. That would be my advice to be able to train for a long time.
That's and what do you think about the, I mean, like when somebody new joins in and like it's been a week or 2 weeks and then they join in sparring. So like how do you see a newbie in jiu-jitsu when you roll with them? Because in my personal experience, some new guys when they have a lot of strength, it becomes difficult to start with them because they would just like catch you anywhere. So one time somebody just got me by my forearm and was just trying to crush it, and I was like, "What's happening? What are you doing?" Because he was using all his strength, and it was like he was trying to break my bone, and I was like, "You're not even sparring, and like you can just go somewhere else." I had frustration then in myself that why am I even sparring with a new guy? So like, what advice do you have on that, or what experience do you have on that?
Yeah, that's difficult because the difficult thing about new people is that they do very unexpected things. So it's hard to prepare for that when you roll because they might do something that nobody else does because they're new and they don't know and you don't know, and then something can go wrong with injuries. So yeah, that's why I think if you are able to set the pace slow in the beginning, so you know, also don't start on a high pace yourself, but just start slow and relax and see where the roll goes. If the person can match that pace, then it's fine. Then I mean, the person can be bigger or new or heavier or stronger. Then it's fine if you roll on a 70% pace, 60%. But when someone is like, sometimes people are really new and they don't know their strength compared to yours and how it feels, and they can do unexpected things, then I sometimes prefer to not roll with a new person. I mean, there are a lot of people on the mat, and I'm always the smallest, so for them it's easy to pick another partner and have a good roll too. And then when they are more experienced in a few weeks or months, then it's fine, then we can roll. So, yeah.
Yeah. And what advice would you want to give to men who roll with women?
Men who roll with women?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna steal it from Claudia Doval because I heard someone asked her the same question in another podcast.
And I have the podcast.
What did she say? I think it was
You guys put it up, right? You put it up the link. You put up the link.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
really, really good. It was the Driving Central podcast with Claudia Doval. It's a really nice one. But I think she said something like, for men to roll with women, you don't need to, like, after three taps, you don't need to tap her anymore. Like, it's okay. You don't need to like tap a girl 5, 6, 7, 8 times in a row. 3 times is enough. So I thought that was good advice. And also she was saying that, which I thought made a lot of sense, that for men, you know, we all know that you can beat the girls, so don't worry about your ego.
I've heard one. I can't remember who it was, but one of the higher belts at Frontline Academy where I train, he said that I learned different things about rolling with women, and I think it's a good point because you're not gonna go like it's mundials. You're not gonna go and train with a small girl like at World Championship and see how strong you are. But you might want to try out different things. You might want to try out, let's say, a new technique, and you need to be a lot like softer in the way you move because basically physics. Like if you're 90 kilo, 100 kilo, and you train with someone 50 kilo, it says for yourself, you're stronger, you're bigger, you're tall, you're everything. Like your body it's way more. So you need to think differently. You need to adapt the training that both of you have a good role. And for you, maybe you need to train about the things you're not able to train with a bigger guy. So you're suddenly able to train with a smaller one.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah,
then,
for sure, I agree with that too.
yeah. So, but then, coming to newbies, some of them they take it really on their ego. So I had this experience where was this guy, like a typical bodybuilder guy coming to the gym and coming to the dojo and thinking that he can probably beat everyone and all of that stuff. So I was paired up with him and he went full crazy on me. And like so I mean I'll probably take that advice when not going. And he was bigger than me, like almost like 20-30 kilos over me. So yeah, but then a lot of people go rough. So do you think we should choose our partners when we want to go like 100%? Like for me, if I know, if I spar with my instructor, my professor, or even with Apeksha, I can go like 100%. But then I also trust them to go 100% and not damage me. So it's kind of that mutual trust, which I think is a big factor as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea because you usually, after a while, you get to know the people you train with, and you know the ones that really want to go hard, and you know the ones that maybe have injuries and don't want to train that hard. So, I mean, I think honestly, I think a mix is the best. And I think that it's nothing wrong with asking in the beginning of sparring. Like, if you feel like you're having a bad day, maybe your shoulder hurts and you don't want to train 100%, I think it's a better idea to, you know, you say straight out, you know what, today I'm going to try, like, so I'm going to go softer. Is it okay for you? Or, and because then you can agree, like, no, I want to go 100%, or no, I just want to go, I don't want to train that hard today, you know. But also, like, at some places, at least, like at Frontline, we have competition class. And when you come to competition class, you know it's basically going to be 1.5 hours sparring. So that would be a bad idea to attend that class if you're injured and you just want to roll light. And recently they set up, like, they call it 30 plus classes, which is basically, if you enjoy talking more than training, you can attend those classes. You know, then you know, you don't go there for competition. You go there to have fun, relax, talk, roll if you like, or talk if you like.
Yeah. No, I think really true what Johanna said. The robots are made up beforehand, and a mix is good. So with some people, you know, okay, we can go hard and you know, get game a little bit, and with other people, you can try out new stuff, and with other people, you can work more on your speed. So it's good to have that mix, and it's good to know beforehand what the other person would like to have from the role as well.
So I would like to take a question from both of you. So, like when a new girl comes in or like takes a trial class or probably joins in the class, so like how do you, you know, make her more confident with the art of lifting? Like, you know, then train with, you know, then be comfortable with the training. So, like how do you make like,
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna 2 seconds.
Yeah. I didn't know that. Can you repeat it?
you don't have to think that when somebody like
Oh, the connection. Rose, can you hear me?
I think the connection is really bad because I cannot hear Apeksha.
Yeah, so what Apeksha, I think Apeksha's connection is bad. So what Apeksha was
Yeah.
asking is like, what advice would you want to give somebody who just, for a new girl that joins the academy, who's probably kind of, that intimated feeling that you get when you first go to your jiu-jitsu class and all of that. And how do you make her more comfortable?
So, what advice for a new girl?
Yeah,
When she joins the academy and wants to learn jiu-jitsu?
yeah.
I would advise to roll with the higher belts as much as she can, because I think they are more technical than beginners, and they also know a little bit better how to roll with women because they are more technical. So I think having a new girl roll with a more experienced blue or purple belt or even higher belt is gonna be better for her to learn than another white belt who's also just beginning and who will use maybe relatively more strength. So yeah, that would be my advice. What do you think, Johanna?
I also think I think it's a good advice to train with higher belts because as you mentioned, they have more experience. They can actually explain what they're doing. If you train with someone that's brand new too, you're gonna have like a blind helping a blind, you know. They don't understand what they're doing, none of them. I also think it's important to remember that you have a responsibility at your academy to welcome new people. That's the only way we're going to grow. It's the only way we're going to gain more members and gain more training partners by welcoming new girls to the academy. And it's important to have the higher belt showing a good example by welcoming, by taking care of them, talking to them, making them feel welcome. Because if everyone just stand in a corner and no one take initiative to help out, it's not going to be a good experience for the new one coming in. But I think that, I mean, you're coming to a place for the first time where, you know, I remember someone told me once, like, imagine if it would be like a alien coming here to watch our classes, like what we're doing. It would be so weird. Like I said, you know, once we take a guy on the street, bring him in, he's gonna watch this. He doesn't even have to be an alien, you know. He's still gonna think this is really weird. To be all close to someone, sweaty with like was it like the kimono, or when you first time you come, you just have like your regular training clothes. It is weird. It's a weird situation. So I think that if it's possible, I would advise someone new to train, just breathe and, you know, don't think too much. Don't make it too complicated.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you're new, you like maybe you after the warm up there will be some techniques, and after that sparring. And if it's your first class, maybe you want to try to implement the technique straight away into the sparring, but then the sparring starts really different than the way you did the technique, and it's all too much complicated on the first day. So what Johanna says, just breathe and just try it out. Don't make it too difficult. I think that would be really good advice.
Yeah, and also for new ones training, don't expect the technique to work like from the beginning, because suddenly you do technique and you kind of have in your mind that, oh my god, I learned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new techniques. Now I'm gonna do everything in sparring, but don't expect it to work from the beginning, because the person is not going to react the way you think he will. He's going to do resistance, and maybe you learn that, oh, the person's going to fall down, and suddenly the person's not going to fall down. So again, like, just give it time, you know.
Yeah, I always notice when I roll with someone new, like when a new girl shows up, very often they say, like when we start sparring, they say, oh, but I don't know anything. But, you know, it's okay. Nobody knew anything on the first day. We all started with zero knowledge and we all learned, so everybody can learn it.
Yeah. What do you have to say to that, Apeksha?
Like, there was a girl, it's been 3, 4, I think 4, 5 months she's been training with us. So like, so after sparring, she came up to me and she was like, but nothing's working. Like, whatever I've learned, nothing works. Like, I can't do anything. And I was like, oh, she's like, how do you do it? Like, I feel I haven't learned anything. And I was like, just, you know, you just keep calm, because, like, you know, one, it's
Yeah, I think Apeksha's network is really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
she's stuck again.
she was saying that maybe she can reconnect? Or?
Yeah, she's connecting now.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, my internet, I think it's pathetic today. Sorry for but yeah, so I was just talking to her about this. So like, there was another female friend standing next to us. So she was like, yeah, like, I can only do things on you sometimes. And like, so what do you suggest? So when we roll with not only new girls but new guys, so do you think that we should help them put the technique, or like, give them the opportunity, not the submission, with like some opportunities like escapes, and probably from side mount they can mount us, but in the correct technique. So like the window of opportunity should be increased when we are going with somebody new. Like,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's what I do, but like I'm not sure.
absolutely. I think more about positioning and movements.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
because if people have their mind too much focusing on a single technique, or I have to do, then I'm going to use the right arm and the left arm, and I'm going to move my hip, that kind of, they miss the whole point, because do is movement, a lot of different movement. And if you tell someone, usually again, I'm like, I say this all the time, like, keep it simple, but it's true, because if you have someone, let's say in your guard, and maybe you taught them how to open the guard, and they're gonna be focusing very much on holding the arm, doing this and this and that, but just tell them, I want you to get out and come on top of me,
Yeah.
the kind of the same way you do with kids, because then they will focus on, where I'm going to the side. If they focus on technique, they're gonna be like, I'm sitting here, right here. You want them to focusing on coming forward, but also it's, of course, it's good to stop while you go and say, okay, if you move like this, I'm gonna be able to flip you that way. If you move like this, I'm gonna be able to do this. Can you feel? Do you have balance? Make them focusing more on movement, balance, and position, I think.
Yeah, that's brilliant advice. I think I will like do that more.
Yeah.
And like there, I want to ask you another question. So when you like when you're starting with something new, or even like somebody say a white belt or a few stripes, so where do you draw this line of when you're starting, and so like it's happened with me, and I think I have also done it. And so where do you think that you can correct a person, and you can give advice to a person, and where do you think that the person will take it in a wrong way, and or your professor will take it in a wrong way, not the professor, but probably like the person you're advising to will think that you're just talking and not doing anything. So like where do you draw that line, and like is it good to give more information, or like like where do you how do you do that?
You want to answer, Rose, or?
Yeah, I was just wondering if I got the question right. So you're wondering like when it's okay to correct someone or give someone advice, but not be too much
Preaching.
Not their teacher
Yeah.
or that kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the person and how well you know each other. I think if some people can take it the wrong way if you don't know them that well. Yeah, I think it really depends on the person. I know with some people I roll with, they say it to me or I say it to them, and then it's fine. Then you learn from each other that way. Maybe there will always be some people who take it the wrong way. I don't think you should like go around sparring and tell everyone, hey, you can do this better. Hey, you should do this. Not like that. Yeah, I don't really have like a big yes or no answer to that.
I think that maybe if you're supposed to spar, like, okay, let's do 5 minute rounds, I usually just give some like really short tips during the roll, like let's say cueing, like, okay, if they try to escape from a submission, then I say, go the other way, but then I usually give advice like afterwards. Because I don't think it's a good idea to interrupt the training too much either. If you're supposed to spar, you're also supposed to work like on your conditioning, and you're also supposed to work on your reactions. But as Rose said, it's not about the person, because sometimes you could tell they find it hard to get like tips and advice. And some people ask a lot of questions and want a lot of advice. So I think you have to kind of the situation.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there are so many times I find myself in such situations, but like, you know, sometimes I tell the person, and then, you know, especially when it's a new person, like it happens because they're doing so many things, but you don't want to overfeed them
No.
because you'll kill the joy out of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, so be careful. That's a good point. That's a really good point. You have to be careful, because if you're telling them everything they do wrong, they barely do nothing right, you know? So it's better to focus on, let's say, one or two things and to help out and to make them feel like they actually gain something, than to just like, oh, you're doing that wrong and that wrong and that wrong. That's not very inspiring.
Yeah.
That's true.
So let's wrap this up. Can you the Instagram that people could go and follow you on is Ladies Only BJJ, am I right?
Yes.
And you
Yes.
have a website as well. You write really good blogs and stuff, so please go and visit that website. It's awesome.
Thank you.
And I guess that is all from all of us. Or if somebody wants to add something.
Just want to say thank you. It was really nice talking to you, and it was really interesting to hear a little bit about the Jiu-Jitsu community in India. So I'm thankful. Thank you.
Yeah, I would say the same. I talked with Apeksha one time before when we did the interview for Ladies Only BJJ, and now it's really nice to get invited the other way around. So thank you for that.
All right. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.